With the release of Ariana Grande's seventh album, Eternal Sunshine, I thought it would be fun to look back on her previous records and pick out some deep cuts that would have made for great singles. Not that Ariana is exactly starving for successful songs, but she definitely has a fair share of songs that could have smashed if given the single treatment. So get your ponytails up and your knee-high boots on, ladies, and let's take a look at some of the singles that could have been. You'll Never Know from Yours Truly. An upbeat pop R&B track with a writing credit from the legendary Babyface, You'll Never Know is a perfect representation of the Yours Truly era. It has all the hallmarks of early Ariana, with its bouncy and bubbly production, reminiscent of late 90s and early 2000s R&B, as well as some unsurprisingly flawless vocals. Ari is clearly having fun on this track, which I presume is because it's closer to the style she really wanted for her major label debut. Back when Ariana was first being pushed as the next big pop star, her label wanted her to cater more towards her younger fan base, who mainly knew her for playing Cat Valentine on Victorious. Ariana, smartly, wanted to go in a more mature direction that would still be accessible to her younger fans, and You'll Never Know accomplishes that perfectly. It can easily be enjoyed by kids and adults alike. On top of that, I do personally think it's the best deep cut on Yours Truly, and it's a fan favorite, so much so that she actually sang it on her Sweetener World Tour in 2019. It's simply an earworm. It's almost impossible to not hum it or have it stuck in your head after listening. I think this could have worked as a final single for Yours Truly, since it's so accessible and fun to listen to, while also not being too juvenile for her more grown fans. It could have been as big of a hit as Baby I or Right There, but sadly, we'll never know. Best Mistake from My Everything. I'm slightly cheating with this one since it was a promotional single, but for the purpose of this list, I'm not going to count those since they don't receive nearly the same amount of promotion, ironically. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but My Everything was hands down Ari's best era singles-wise. Not only did it have the highest amount of singles with 5, which for her is actually a lot considering her last 3 albums only had 3, but all of them were huge smash hits that have become some of her signature songs. Problem, Break Free, and Bang Bang all ruled the summer of 2014, and Love Me Harder and One Last Time similarly got tons of airplay when they released. All these tracks represented the more bombastic, pop-heavy side of My Everything, though the album itself continues in the footsteps of Yours Truly with its R&B cuts, with the standout being Best Mistake, featuring Big Sean. A sparsely produced hip-hop ballad, Best Mistake is one of the most haunting and mature tracks in Ari's early discography, with lyrics discussing the uncertainty and dysfunction of the couple's relationship. It's worth noting that Ari didn't confirm they were dating at the time of My Everything's release, but rumors of the two being together were everywhere. A single with both of them on it would have promoted itself given the speculation. The song even charted at number 49 on the Hot 100, which is pretty good for a promo single. I think Best Mistake would have worked as a low-key moment for the My Everything era. It's not as catchy or over-the-top as the other singles, but it represents a more intimate side to Ariana, and strips back the heavy production in favor of letting her voice and the storytelling really shine. It also could have appealed to fans of hip-hop and R&B, giving her a wider reach and exposing her to different audiences who enjoyed that sound more from her than her strictly pop stuff. I'll admit, Best Mistake isn't even one of my favorite songs from My Everything, but I do think it would have been the smartest choice for another single, though considering how well this era did commercially, it's not like they really needed to push another one. Greedy from Dangerous Woman. This song is honestly the reason I've always wanted to do this video. Ever since Dangerous Woman dropped in 2016, I've wanted this to be a single, and frankly was shocked when it wasn't. Greedy is everything my gay heart needs from Ariana. It's disco, funk, maximalist dance pop perfection. Right from the beginning with the belting of the title, which blew my eardrums out when I first listened to it, since I have my earphones on full blast, I knew this was going to be a favorite of mine. Not only does the big bandy and funky production make it a total jam, but some of Ari's best vocals are on this track, going from her higher register to more breathy vocals to really show her lust for the guys she's singing about. She is horny on this track, literally spelling out the metaphor in the chorus, which is super fun to sing along with. This is a bop, plain and simple, and in a world where Uptown Funk was still getting regular radio play, and Bruno Mars's 24 Karat Magic was close to releasing, Greedy could have fit in with the 70s throwback sound that was having a resurgence at the time. Recently, I've been seeing some people complaining about Yes and for not showcasing enough of her vocal power, and while I love that song, I do agree it could have benefited if she sang more in her higher register. Greedy, in my opinion, is close to what Yes and could have been if it had more vocal power behind it, despite Yes and being a 90s house throwback, while Greedy is a 70s disco throwback. Every Time from Sweetener. A gorgeously produced trap and R&B ballad, Every Time is one of the more atmospheric tracks on Sweetener, with a hazy, almost dreamlike sound to it. The lyrics discuss her going back to a toxic relationship despite the hurt it's caused her, and many fans speculated that this was referring to her ex-boyfriend Mac Miller, who she had broken up with a few months before Sweetener's release. There's always going to be interest in high-profile relationships like this and the songs that come out of them, so I do think the song would have had that going for it if it was pushed as a single. But really, I just think Every Time is beautiful. Ari's devastated and downtrodden performance as she sings about her inability to move on makes it a real tearjerker, but its catchy melody and twinkly production makes it a safe choice for general audiences. The chorus especially is an earworm, definitely one you'll remember even after just one listen. Sweetener got a lot of hate when it first came out for sounding too quote-unquote experimental, with the backlash mainly being directed towards Pharrell's production style, and even though I never agreed with this criticism, I can see why some of the more left-of-center tracks probably wouldn't have played as well to general audiences. Every Time, in my opinion, is the strongest contender for a mainstream-friendly single. It would have made for a great late fall, early winter moment, but she was a little busy working on another project at that time. And speaking of, NASA from Thank You Next. If I could pick one song from this list that actually needed to be a single, it is this one. NASA is hands down the catchiest song on this album, with its repetitive chorus and sing-songy verses. The fittingly space-sounding production is somehow both chill and lively. This is a track you could dance to just as easily as you can mellow out to, which is perfect considering the lyrical content about wanting time away from your partner and having a night to yourself. As a self-proclaimed self-care queen, I really enjoyed the lyrics in this one. Pop music can be very all or nothing. A lot of big hits are either love songs about wanting to be with your partner until the day you die, or kiss-off songs about moving on, but NASA offers a more, ironically, grounded view of relationships. Ari is tired and the girl wants a night alone. I love that. She really read my extroverted, introvert mind when she was writing this. I think it would have been cool to have this as a single, since it explores a topic you don't really hear much of in pop music, and its bounciness and catchiness would have made it an easy radio hit. It also goes well with Ariana's general brand of promoting self-love and looking out for your mental health. We all give a lot of energy to other people on a daily basis, whether it be your coworkers, partner, family, or friends, so it's nice having a song like this to remind us that we need some space too. Safety Net from Positions. I had so much trouble picking a potential single from Positions. I think the obvious choice most people would have gone with is probably Off the Table with The Weeknd. And that song is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna go ahead and risk my life and say it was never a favorite of mine. I'm sorry, it's just so slow and I was never really able to get into it, despite the great songwriting. I'm the problem here, not the song is gorgeous. I also debated either Motive or Nasty, since both of those are chill, easy to listen to bops, but ultimately I went with Safety Net, since it has the perfect blend of memorable production, sticky melodies, and personal songwriting. It's actually pretty similar to Every Time, being a trap-infused ballad, only this time she's singing about her apprehension going into a new relationship, and how she's afraid of it failing, despite the strong feelings she has. Like Every Time, Safety Net has a dreamy, atmospheric quality to it, but it still has a catchy enough melody to stick with you. Her vocals are especially divine on this one, especially in the bridge, where she's able to convey desperation, fear, and insecurity in just 4 lines. Ty Dolla $ign also has a great verse, playing her new boyfriend who wants to take care of her and help her move on from her past. The story in the song is consistent with the album's themes of healing and the role past trauma can have in new relationships, so I think it would have been a smart single to represent the more emotional side of Positions. It's also just a chill bop. one I could easily hear being on the radio and general audiences enjoying. Or maybe I'm just being too biased and love when Ariana does hazy, dreamy R&B songs like this, since they tend to be my favorites, but still, I feel like this one did have single potential. Those were my picks for Ariana songs that should have been singles, but let me know what you guys would have chosen from each of her albums, and I'll see you in the next one.